12.17 is on the horizon, so it's time we set you guys up with the best solo carries of the patch. 3 champions for every single role who are cut above everyone else for the current solo queue meta. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Aatrox is an absolute monster of a top lane pick for 12.17. The ability for you to pop off in 1v9 with the armor pen build makes him so rewarding to play. Eclipse Spike is super nasty, and if you play around your Q cooldown along with Eclipse Shield cooldown, trades become very favorable. Matchup-wise, Aatrox struggles most against Aurelia in the current meta, so she's a good ban to consider. Aurelia's ability to dash to minions to dodge Aatrox's Q damage, along with her damage reduction from W, makes the lane super volatile. The core build for Aatrox is an Eclipse Rush followed by Black Cleaver 2nd and Cyrilda's Grudge 3rd. One of the nicest 3-item spikes for any champion in the game right now. Runes are Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand, run Second Wind, and Revitalize for secondaries. Very few impactful top lane changes for 12.17 gives us no reason to remove Shen from the top 3. Shen has been a solo carry staple ever since the Dragon update, and he continues to be a reliable carry patch after patch. With the likes of Renekton and Wukong nerfed, Shen's matchups only become that much better. Shen is especially strong into reworked Udyr, who's being played quite a bit as a top laner. Mord is always a great ban since Shen gets little value out of his W in the matchup. Build is a Frostfire or Sunfire Rush into Titanic Hydra 2nd and Thornmail or Randuin's 3rd. Grasp is Shen's best keystone with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Revitalize. Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter are optimal secondaries. It's a rare occurrence when the solo carries for a role remain the same from one patch to another, but that's the case for top lane in 12.17 with Darius rounding out the top 3. Don't fix what isn't broken, or should we say, what is broken, as Darius will be a great top lane pick for another patch. With Wukong being one of Darius's more difficult matchups, he's loving the fact Wu is being nerfed. Prior to 12.17, Renekton had been Darius' 3rd most common matchup, so the Renekton nerfs are amazing too. Less corrupting potion spam and potion strength in general has been a huge buff to Darius' early game. Finding those openings with Ghost and punishing the enemy for mispositioning is way more rewarding now. Trinity is the max damage build, while Stridebreaker offers more sticking power to counter comps with greater mobility or kite. Death's Dance 2nd and Deadman's or Force of Nature 3rd round out the core. For runes, pick up Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Ever since the Resolve nerfs, many players have been sleeping on Sorcery secondary with Nimbus Cloak and Celerity. Moving on to the jungle top 3, Kayn locks down the first spot. So many positives for Kayn in recent patches, as he was directly buffed. Meta picks like Trundle and Diana have been nerfed, while Kayn is one of the best junglers you can pick into reworked Udyr. Kayn loves playing into those tankier comps due to his ability to thrive in extended fights, and with the optimal Udyr build being a tanky one, it bodes very well for Kayn. Udyr is also the highest play rate jungler at the moment, so it's great value to have Kayn in your champion pool. Despite Trundle being nerfed this patch, he's still an annoying matchup for Kayn to play into, so Trundle would be our recommended ban. Standard build for Kayn is Gore Drinker into Black Cleaver and Death's Dance, however, swapping Gore for Eclipse is very underrated as well. For runes, grab Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Conditioning and Revitalize are for secondaries. The most optimal AP jungler you can play for solo queue right now is Fiddlesticks. You could have made an argument for Diana in previous patches, but now that she's been nerfed, Fiddle takes over. Fid's been riding high ever since his buffs a few patches back, and he's without a doubt one of the most underrated champions in the game at the moment. Dragons buffed means they are way more important to contest, and a jungler like Fiddle who thrives in those bunched up teamfights is amazing. It's not necessarily specific junglers who will give you the most issues with Fid, but strong peel supports. Using your ban on a support like Janna or Lulu will help to greatly increase teamfight effectiveness. Fiddle's build is a Rocket Belt Rush into Zanya 2nd and Shadow Flame 3rd. Rune Page is first strike with perfect timing, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter are for secondaries. The Wuju Bladesman has been dominating the Rift ever since his mini rework and is our 3rd solo carry of the patch. The fact Master you can build Sunfire Aegis and is actually an optimal build just doesn't feel right. You're able to amass plenty of damage from Blade of the Ruined King and Rage Blade, and then transition into Sunfire to become this raid boss who one-shots everyone and never dies. Kraken is still great as well if you don't feel the durability from Sunfire is necessary. Like most champions, Yi still has his weaknesses, but they're not as relevant with Ignite being run as at a flash. Yi has always been known as that weaker early game jungler who scales for late, but Ignite with lethal tempo stacked and the damage reduction from W makes him very underrated in early skirmishes. Trundle or Rammus are two of the more difficult matchups for Yi right now, so either is a good ban. The rune page for Master Yi is Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Pick up Eyeball Collector and Treasure Hunter for secondaries. Sylas nerfed for 12.17 makes way for Victor to slide back into the top 3 for mid. Not just the Sylas nerfs though, but Azir and Ahri losing power is great for Victor too. Besides Sylas, Ahri is Victor's most common solo queue matchup, so he's going to see a nice indirect boost this patch. Riot's thrown in a buff to Seeker's Arm Guard, increasing its AP from 20 to 30, so rushing the item in AD matchups will be great now. Past few months of changes have been amazing for Victor, as the durability update along with Dragons buffed helps him a ton. Now that potions are nerfed, Victor's laning power against certain melee picks has become much better. Consistent Q poke adds up more and allows you to exploit favorable matchups easier. Speaking of matchups, Cat or Zed being highly mobile assassins are two of the best bans for Vic. Luden's Rush into Shadowflame or Lichbane's second and Zanya's or Rabadon's third is Victor's build. First Strike and Aerie are both viable keystones for Vic. In melee matchups where you have early kill threat, look to run Aerie, otherwise First Strike is going to scale better. 12.17 is a great patch for Victor, but it's even better for Zed, as Sylas nerfs are exactly what he wants. Sylas had been Zed's most common matchup in solo queue as of recent, but it was the only meta matchup Zed held a negative win rate against. Even with the Sylas nerfs, he'll likely continue to hold a high play rate, so using your ban on him will still be good value. Zed was buffed a couple patches back, and with more positive changes in 12.17, he'll be the best mid lane assassin. Mythic item for Zed is extremely versatile, as all lethality mythics have a place. You can't go wrong with Eclipse for all games, while Prowlers and Duskblade are more snowbally volatile options when against squishies. For runes, grab Electrocute with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ultimate Hunter. Transcendence and Scorch are the way to go for secondaries. The mid lane meta is shaping out more and more in Vex's favor, and she rounds out the top 3 for mid. Vex has always been a great pickup into Sylas, so his nerfs only make the matchup more one-sided. Just like Victor, Vex is also indirectly buffed with the Seeker's Arm Guard changes, as she becomes stronger early on into AD mids. Vex's passive and ability to counter mobile champs is so powerful for the current state of League, where 8 of the 10 most played mids have a dash. Banning out Victor is good value for Vex, as she struggles more into champs that can sit back and burst from range. For the build, a Luden's Rush into Shadowflame's second and Zanya's third is great for most games. Electrocute is the optimal keystone with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ultimate Hunter. Roll with Mana Flow and Scorch for secondaries. The bot lane meta has been on the move in recent patches, with Caitlyn jumping up into a very powerful position. We've seen a plethora of ADCs nerfed recently, like Zeri, Draven, Kalista, and Sivir, which has indirectly helped Cait. Not only this, but Caitlyn was directly buffed as well, so she's been able to leapfrog past a ton of ADCs in priority. Another huge indirect buff for Cait were the potion and biscuit nerfs. Now if you catch the enemy support in a bind or take some nice trades early on, you get rewarded so much more. Matchup-wise, Sivir is a good ban in general, but specifically for Cait as well, since Sivir's ability to match your shove is not ideal for Cait to maximize lane power. Build for Caitlyn consists of a Gale Force Rush into Fire Cannon second and Infinity Edge third. Lethal and Fleet are viable keystones for Cait. You can't go wrong with Fleet for every single game, whereas Lethal Tempo will be of best value when paired with an aggro support. Another ADC fresh off a massive direct buff from 12.16 and making the jump into our top 3 is Tristana. When you factor in the added attack speed on Q along with potion nerfs, Tristana has benefited greatly as of recent. Trist is at her best when she's able to abuse her all-in power by rocket jumping aggressively in, and now that the enemy can't heal up as much after a one trade is amazing. 15% added attack speed at level 3 is actually insane gold value and has turned Trist into the most undervalued ADC. If you want some free elo right now, pair Tristana up with a Mumu, as the duo has ridiculous early all-in threat. Recommended ban for Tristana isn't actually an ADC, as supports like Janna and Lulu do a good job at nullifying early kill power. Build for Tristana is a Kraken Slayer into Phantom Dancer second and Infinity Edge or Lord Dominic's third. To maximize early burst potential, pick up Hail of Blades with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Treasure Hunter. Triumph and Bloodline work great for secondaries. To round out the ADC top 3 for 12.17 is going to be Twitch. Twitch is a phenomenal pick right now, as enchanters are still being played way more than melee supports, which allows Twitch to thrive with a couple items. Every patch, the Flash Ghost tech continues to rise in play rate, as it's extremely strong for solo queue. For Twitch, it's not just the ability for him to be more mobile throughout teamfights, but his catch power from stealth is also amplified massively. Twitch is one of the few ADCs who fares pretty well into Sivir, as he doesn't have any high impact abilities that Sivir can reliably spell shield. Neela is currently the matchup Twitch players struggle against most, so she's a good ban to consider. Build for Twitch is a Blade of the Ruined King into Kraken Slayer 2nd and Hurricane 3rd. For runes, run Lethal Tempo with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cutdown. Optimal secondaries are Taste of Blood and Ultimate Hunter. With enchanters like Nami, Yumi, and Seraphine recently nerfed, it's allowed Janna to stand out as a premier pick. Nobody else can match what Janna brings in regards to peel for her carries, and her synergies with the most played ADCs is ludicrous. Sivir with Janna is a ridiculous duo combo, as it's nearly untouchable in teamfights due to the utility both champs provide for each other. Janna loves playing into champs who rely on diving in, like Rakan, Leona, and Alistar, but she struggles more into poke mages. Longer range champs like Xerath and Ashe are good bans for Janna, as she can't access the full potential of her kit against them. Build for Janna is a Moonstone Rush into Putrefier or Redemption 2nd and Ardent Censer 3rd. Don't autopilot build Putrefier every game, as it's great into heavy healing comps, but otherwise it's a waste after its nerfs from a while back. Best rune page is Glacial Augment with Freeboots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Font of Life and Revitalize are for secondaries. It didn't take a genius to realize that Amumu would be one of the most OP supports after the 12.16 Even Shroud buffs. Buffs weren't anything crazy, but considering Amumu was already a top tier support before, the changes only made him more insane. The gank setup and level 2 all-in potential is unmatched by any other support right now, which makes Amumu such a potent solo carry. Level 6 should be a free kill whenever ultimate is available, as you have a few seconds of chain CC if you use R, and then follow with both Q charges. Janna being picked a lot more often, and one of the best peel supports, is an optimal ban for Amumu, as she can shut down a lot of his potential. Even Shroud is the mythic item, followed by Zanya 2nd and Thornmail 3rd. For runes, pick up Aftershock with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching. Best secondaries are Chief Shot and Ultimate Hunter. Zyra is an incredibly strong support after her 12.16 buff, especially for the lower elos. Masters and above, Zyra can get exploited a little more, but the majority of the player base doesn't have to worry about that. The poke power of Zyra has only become stronger in recent patches, with potions and biscuits nerfed. It actually feels really nice now that poke on the enemy support actually sticks, and you can find more windows of opportunity as a result. Hard Engage is Zyra's biggest weakness, so banning out Amumu is well worth it for the current meta. Core build is a Leandri's Rush into Zanya 2nd and Rylai's 3rd. Roll with Comet as the keystone, followed by Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch. Taste of Blood and Relentless Hunter are the best secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So, now that you're completely up to date with the best solo carries of 12.17, good luck in solo queue, and we'll catch you in the next one.